Favorite three albums? First one I would say, tricky one, but yeah, first one I have to say that will be Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd.
Hmm.
That's one of those records. When I first heard it, it's not just an album. It's if you listen to it from to bottom, I mean, it's more like an experience. When you talk about the producers, Alan Parsons and Chris Thomas, they did such a fabulous job in terms of putting the record straight, like a sort of a trip and in itself.
Hmm.
And of course the band members, I mean Gilmour to Roger Waters to Nick Mason and Richard Wright. I mean those four geniuses, I mean not to mention them at all because of course why not. But the trip, I'm saying, because when I listen to a particular album, it's more about the journey that I kind of look forward to. So in terms of that, that is a progressive journey right from the first track till last. So that will be number one for me.
Okay.
Number two, well, I would say Queen Strike's Operation Mindcrime that came out in 1988.
Yeah.
So Peter Collins again, that's a great producer. So the storyline that the band put forward about the guy Nicky and his the whole thing, that the first there's that soundscape where he says like I remember now, and then the whole backstory comes up, and that whole territory of storytelling, it's like a movie going on, but
It is.
in terms of an audio. That's what I look forward, because personally I'm a kind of a listener who looks forward for listening to kind of a movie, if not watch the movie. So
Yeah.
that's the type of music I kind of dig a lot. So Dark Side of the Moon and Queen Strike's Operation Mindcrime has that one element in common, because it's like a
Yeah.
soundscape or a soundtrack for a film in a way. That's number two. And well, for number three I would say a lot of different names, but if I have to choose one, then I would say Nightwish's album called Once, that came out in 2004.
Hmm.
I love symphonic metal a lot.
Yeah. Same.
So like the orchestral stuff and the way the production was carried out with with a live orchestra in most of the songs, barring one or two songs, I think everything else was carried out by a live orchestra in the recording, which normally is a very rare thing to see in today's bands. So that is like a magnum opus of the band, if I'm not wrong. Up till even now, I don't think Nightwish has done that since the last 20 years, like putting a live orchestra in the studio. So, yeah, those three.
Do you do something like that with SNARM or away from SNARM, like a concept album, symphonic even?
Yeah, I mean, see, as far as symphonic elements are concerned, I really want to incorporate that, but of course, it's very hard to get a hold of a live orchestra in the studio these days. I mean, first of all, the budget part of it,
Yeah.
and secondly, the availability of such quality musicians and a big live orchestra is kind of hard to like arrange and hire. But having said that, if I have to say in terms of the creativity part of it, symphonic elements are something I definitely plan, or we definitely plan to put forward somewhere down the line in the forthcoming albums of SNARM, or probably in any of the other projects that I'm working on. And as far as the concept album goes, the upcoming new album is definitely not going to be one, but probably do the one after that, or the forthcoming things. At least one album of that has to be a concept album, because we really look forward to making something like that, because I love telling stories.
Yeah.
I like people to take and to take people on a journey. So of course, why not? I'll say, as far as guitar players are concerned, the first two names I'd say would be because I can't really differentiate between the. I mean, I can't say one is number one and number two, so I'd say that's one for me. John Petrucci from Dream Theater and Dimebag Darrell from Pantera, God rest his soul. Because Petrucci, for the sheer cleanliness of his playing, the articulate thing that he has in his fingers, like every note is so damn pristine, clear, and like to the point, like nobody can like say that there's a touch of error in that.
Mm.
So that's one. And the dynamics at which he plays is like something which is instantly signature of him. That's one part of, and that's of course the biggest aspect of Dream Theater's sound, I feel.
Yeah,
And number two, Dimebag, since I said Dimebag, because the soul that the guy had. I mean, like, for the tragic loss that the world had to go
absolutely.
through in
Yeah,
2004. I mean, of course, I'm one of the biggest Pantera fans, and I have covered Pantera a lot of
yeah,
times,
oh, yeah,
in the earlier years.
yeah,
So, having said that, like the tonality that he has in his guitars, the way he just the sound of those guitars hits you, in a way like it's very unlike any guitar player that I've ever heard or I will ever hear for sure. The sound of those Randall speakers with that dime ML shape, that Dean guitars. I think that frequency and the tone quality of it is something which I don't think can be replicated ever. So that's for the guitars. As far as bass is concerned, I'll say again two players. I'd say one is Mr. Geezer Butler from Black
yeah,
Sabbath, because especially since there's only one guitarist in Sabbath, Mr. Tony Iommi. When he goes into solo and when he does his thing, like typically when a bass player, he just gives the groove along with the drums, just
mhm,
so that it's like one tightly knit unit. But
mhm,
but in terms of Mr. Butler, I mean, he doesn't like goes into that typical stuff, but whereas he goes into a whole different kind of a lead playing sort of a stuff.
yeah,
That's kind of different. I mean, that's very unlike anything normally bassists do. Of course, there are different bass soloists these days. That's a different thing. But like in terms of rock bass playing, that's a little bit different thing. And I think he was one of those pioneer players.
absolutely.
And number two, in terms of bass, will be Mr. Justin Chancellor from Tool. I
Oh
mean, of
yeah,
course, a genius. So I mean, of course, the stuff that he plays is just blows me away. Like every groove, every time signature, every thing that he locks in. As for drummers, Neil Peart from Rush, and Mike Portner from Dream Theater again.
brilliant.
So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
So
great.
of course.
If you could take SNARM out on a world tour, which six countries would you tour?
Okay. Well, I'll say first of all, UK is one of the bucket list for sure.
Yeah,
Place of yours.
yeah,
And as far as Europe is concerned, other countries from Europe is concerned, I'll say one of them will be Sweden, Germany, of course,
mhm,
and Sweden and Finland. These are the first few countries I can name.
okay,
All of the other ones will come later, but Germany, Sweden, Finland, and the UK are the first four countries that I can name.
right,
Especially most of the listeners have been from these four countries a lot. So
mhm,
I definitely would like to think that we have at least a few fan base that we have built up till at this point. So of course,
okay. I reckon you should add Belgium in there because that's like
of course, of course, of course. I just missed out that. Yeah,
and
my
France.
apologies.
Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So next one's then like random. What song would wake you up from a deep sleep from your album?
From my album,
Yeah.
okay. I would say that would be this rock and roll ride from the album that we released. That would be the one that will wake me up from my sleep. But if I have to name another song from any artist for that matter, if I'm in a coma or something, that's an easy answer. That would be Motorhead's Kill by Death. Just
Brilliant.
all the way.
Okay. Yeah, totally. All right. So if there was a made up song about your personality, what would it be called?
Hmm. Mm, no regrets whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just stroking my cat. All right.
Oh, is it there now? Is it there now?
Yeah, but she's not. You've been a bit camera shy recently, haven't you? Yeah. Yeah. Just, oh, there she goes. I
All
can see
right, I
the
can
ball.
see it still. I can see. Oh yeah.
She's been a bit
Oh
camera
yeah.
shy, haven't you?
I
All
love
right,
it.
man. So, what's your favourite film?
Favorite film?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a long list now.
Hollywood.
Um, Yeah, of course, Hollywood. Yeah, I mean,
No,
I don't
Bollywood.
watch a lot. I
Bollywood.
don't watch a lot of Bollywood for sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, if I have to say Hollywood, then I would say Inception, if I have to name one.
Favorite food.
Ha, that's again a lot of different things. But if I have to name just one, well, I would say anything Japanese, maybe like sushi or something like in that zone, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. So as you're by Assam, Assam is your state, isn't it?
State. Yeah, of course.
Do you prefer Assam tea or beer?
Mhm.
Which do you prefer?
Depends on the situation. If I get up from bed, it'll be definitely be some tea. But if it's in the evening, chilling out with friends, it's definitely not gonna be tea. It'll be beer.
Right. Which is your favorite Indian beer? Is that we get Cobra and Kingfisher here?
Okay, so Indian beer, there's this one called Bira over here. I would not say it's my favorite, but it's okayish. I don't drink a lot of it, but it's kind of okay. As far as I'm concerned, I'm more of a as far as beer is concerned, I'm more of a Corona or Heineken drinker mostly.
Okay.
So, but yeah, like Indian beers, like although we have a few locally made beers over there, those are
Mm.
not exactly branded, but I would say that's made of rice. So that's something I love. It's called rice beer, but it's not
Mhm.
like a typically branded one. But you should definitely check it out if you want to visit Assam someday.
Yeah, I've had like a Chinese rice beer. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah, I can't
kind of
remember.
on those lines, but a little bit of a different fragrance and stuff.
Mhm. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And so, are you guys as a band? Are you saints or sinners?
Sorry? Oh, saints and sinners. Well, I would say I'm not definitely not a saint for sure. That I can say pretty much. My guitar player is definitely one of those saints, and so is my drummer. Can't say anything about the bass player. He's a reserved guy, in terms of that. But yeah, that's about it. I think I'm definitely not a saint for sure.